Enemy holds the hard point. Hard point in Allied hands. Recon aircraft standing by.
What's up, guys? Robotcher here with Unashamed Gaming, bringing you a hardpoint game today on USS Texas. Be sure to check out that clip before the intro at the beginning of the video if you haven't already for whatever reason. I thought it was pretty good. From a different game, same map though. But I want to talk about a couple things today. I don't know if I'm going to have time to get to all of them. I'm going to do my best. The first thing I want to talk about is this recent happening, I guess you could say, we've seen in the video game world with Battlefront 2 and EA basically changing their game due to overall negative reaction from their fans. So basically, from what I understand, the microtransactions and other things in Battlefront 2 were really just ruining the game for a lot of fans. They spoke out about it, and EA decided to take those things out of the game and change things that needed to be changed. This is rather unprecedented, and many people were very, very happy and excited that a developer listened to their fans like that and changed something about their game, you know, an actual core thing of their release game due to fan outcry. And I think that is great. I'm glad for Battlefront fans, for EA, for everyone involved that it happened. It should have happened. I think it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, that we have this kind of reaction to it happening because it's so unheard of. Now hear me out. It should not be this unheard of for a developer to listen to their fans and give them what they want. That is ridiculous that EA does something and it's like an unprecedented, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did this, you know, type of thing. And I was talking with Enos the other day, and I think the best thing for Call of Duty, the best thing that could happen for Call of Duty, would be for Activision to sell the rights. Now, Activision, of course, has been a core part of Call of Duty since the beginning, as the engine that it runs on, I guess not really the developer, the publisher. But I think it is holding Call of Duty back as of since Advanced Warfare at least. It's to the point now where Activision puts these things in the game that people say they don't want, you know, like the microtransaction supply drops with supply drop weapons and things like that. And they just keep doing it, even though fan outcry it was pretty obvious, I think, for most of those things. They keep putting them in there in order to get the money, the revenue from all the supply drops, and they don't really care what we think. I think they put such limitations on these developers, Sledgehammer, Treyarch, and Infinity Ward, that the games they want to make and the games they end up making are not the same thing because of Activision restrictions. Things that Activision demands be put in the game in order to make it, I guess you could say, more profitable for them, and yet they ruin the game. But these developers have no choice because their publisher is telling them to do so. Kind of like if you write a book, and then your publisher says, I'll publish this book, but you have to change this chapter. It may not be what you feel like was the best way for that book to go, but because that publisher has the money and is the one producing your book, you have to change the chapter. Kind of the same thing with Call of Duty and Activision. And I really think that Activision's interests are not in the heart, or they don't have the Call of Duty fan base's interests at heart. They have their own. And that's a problem. EA doing this is kind of the first that we've seen of it, and it should show us that it is possible, but I don't know if it's possible with Activision. I don't know if Activision even cares. So if Call of Duty dies, that's why it's going to be. But if Call of Duty is to survive and continue being a forefront game as it has been before, it's going to need to either be out of the hands of Activision, or Activision's going to have to start listening to its fans. Sledgehammer, of course, tried to listen by taking away advanced movements and going back to boots on the ground. I give them props for that, but I don't know how much they could do with Activision at the helm like they currently are. Now, to talk about something else, talk about World War II as itself. I like to say that if you bought World War II, you basically bought 2 games for the price of 1. Depending on the type of player you are, depends on how well you enjoy the game. If you are a TDM strictly player, you probably absolutely hate this game because the TDM spawns are terrible. Most of the maps are terrible for Team Deathmatch. There's literally 1 of 2 spawns on every single map I've noticed in TDM. You either spawn at one extreme or the other, and it's almost impossible to push out those spawns unless your entire team decides to do so, thus making the game very hard to play, hard to get into a flow. If you are an objective-based player or a competitive player, then you may have a little bit better time with this game. Granted, competitive does not come out till this Friday, which I will be playing it, but it doesn't come out till Friday for the plebeians like us. But at the same time, I've heard, it's pretty good. Pros seem to be pretty happy overall, and seem to be enjoying it. If you just play zombies in the campaign, both of those I've heard are pretty good. So you probably really enjoy the game then. So really, depending on what type of player you are, depends on your perspective and your enjoyment of this game. I think that's why there's been such a vast kind of split on how YouTubers, how pros, how everybody perceives this game. Some people say it's the best COD in ages. Others say just another crappy Call of Duty. So I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. I like a lot of things about this game. I also dislike a lot of things about this game. It's all just going to have to see in the first few months here what gets changed in updates. And kind of how competitive play is, ranked play for me to see, what I think about it. But that's all just kind of going to depend on, again, Sledgehammer, Activision, what they can do, and that kind of stuff. The last thing I want to talk about briefly is Gridiron, the new uplink, basically, of this game. Same basic rules, dunk it, throw it, except the scoring is different. In dunking, you get 7 points, and throwing, you get 3 points, just like football. I kind of like the change because I think dunking is a little bit harder in this game as it is boots on the ground, so I think you should be rewarded a little bit more for it. I don't know if it's quite as much as you get, like a 2.5 times multiplier basically on the scoring there. Maybe it should be like 5 and 3 or 6 and 3. Although that would be the same as dunking and throwing. So I don't know. I guess 7 and 3 works pretty well now that I talk it out like that. But that being said, it's not terrible. It's hard to play in pubs with people that don't really care about the objective. I did notice that it has been taken out of the CWL rotation for CWL Dallas coming up here in a few weeks. So that being said, I think it's got some issues that obviously the pros don't want to deal with. So that may make it kind of fall by the wayside. I don't know if it's going to be in ranked play or not. I kind of assume it will be because we know that developers also kind of like to force new game modes on their fans, kind of like Infinity War did with Ghost, where they did not really search and destroy at the beginning, but they had search and rescue, basically forcing you to play that if you wanted to play a search-like game mode. But Gridiron, again, it may be a good game, we'll see, but right now, not a competitive game. But I do like what they've done with the scoring change and things like that. One thing I will mention briefly before this video ends is I don't like the score. For some reason, they took the deaths out of your scoreboard on Gridiron, so you can't see your deaths, but I'm sure they're still counting towards your KD. I don't really understand the point of that because everybody wants to know what their KD is in a game. A lot of people play those games just for kills. So, anyway, these are my thoughts today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a lot to get out in 8.5 minutes. But if you did enjoy it, be sure to leave a like, and we'll see you guys next time with another video. God bless.